Is coffee good for weight loss, health and performance? In this video, I'm going to share my thoughts. There are many benefits, but there are also many contraindications that we should understand and respect. In Britain alone, 98 million cups of coffee are drunk a day. Wowza. Coffee offers several health benefits, particularly when consumed in moderation and with training. However, over the many years of drinking coffee, coming from a culture where drinking caffeine in later hours of the day, understanding the different effects that caffeine can have on your body is vital. As many of you are aware, coffee contains the stimulant caffeine. You'll find this in energy drinks, sodas, teas, pre-workouts, and of course, coffee. Now, if we look at the stimulant within coffee, caffeine, we must understand that this is known as a nootropic, which means this substance can improve cognitive function, particularly aspects related to alertness, memory, and mood. It enhances alertness in the brain by blocking the neurotransmitter that is responsible for relaxation and drowsiness. This neurotransmitter is known as adenosine. Because of this, it will then heighten neurotransmitters in the brain, such as dopamine, that are associated with alertness, attention, and mood regulation. This obviously can improve concentration, focus, and productivity. When we relate this back to training, research has shown that people that are caffeinated tend to choose and lift heavier weights. Caffeine has also been shown to help with memory, particularly short-term and working memory. It has also been shown to consolidate memory, meaning long-term memory is also improved. There has also been some research that has shown that caffeine can help with mental fatigue, meaning good cognitive performance and sustained cognitive performance is associated with caffeine. This is especially true for tasks that require good attention to detail and sustained cognitive performance over a long period of time. There has also been some research that shows that caffeine can help protect against the damaging of cells over aging that promote things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. However, a little bit more research is needed to clarify the depth to which this can help. It has also been shown to boost performance, particularly for exercises that require higher stamina or endurance. This is done by enhancing adrenaline, which prepares the body for physical exertion. If obviously followed alongside a caloric deficit, there is some research that suggests that caffeine helps elevate metabolic rate and fat oxidation. It's also a diuretic, which means you're going to pass a lot of water. So be mindful of this and stay hydrated if you're going to be caffeinated. Again, there is little research that also shows that if people are caffeinated, it can produce things like soreness, like DOMS. So caffeination can help us with our muscle soreness. This data shows us that caffeination can also help us recover quicker. Chlorogenic acid is also associated with caffeine, meaning its antioxidant properties help us reduce inflammation by getting rid of free radicals. This is particularly true if we're someone who is doing lots of endurance and aerobic work. So caffeine can help us with this. It is known that people that do lots and lots of aerobic work have more free radicals circulating around the body. So caffeine can help us protect cells and reduce that inflammation. If you're liking these videos, please like, share, and subscribe. If you subscribe, you'll be the first to hear when a new video is released. We run a playlist. For 12 weeks, you'll be able to lose 5 to 10 kilos following our workouts that we release. We release 3 every month. We also release educational videos such as this one. And what we also do is stick some nutritional and cook-alongs along the way to help you along with your weight loss goals. So like, share, subscribe, and be the first to be notified. Back to the video. Now here is the part where you have to weigh up the benefits versus the contraindications, because caffeine is actually a stimulant. We know this, and coffee is something that a lot of us drink on a daily basis. 98 million cups a day in Britain alone, as I said earlier. So we have to understand the contraindications so we can also understand how we use it, if we are going to use it, to try and get some of the benefits that it gives us. The biggest point I can raise is that as caffeine is a stimulant, it can be really addictive. Now, if you think about us, coffee drinkers, coffee is something that becomes a staple of people's lives, whether that's you like the taste, whether that you like the benefits it gives you, through the enhanced performance, for example, or if you're a social drinker. And if we don't understand how we're using this stimulant, the addiction can offset the benefits it gives us. One of the biggest contraindications is understanding that caffeine can disrupt your sleep patterns. Delaying onset of sleep and reducing overall sleep duration is a big problem. This is especially true if you're drinking caffeine or coffee close to bedtime. Remember, caffeine has a half-lifetime of between 3 and 6 hours. And what this means is it may take several hours for your body to metabolize the caffeine and eliminate half of that caffeine out of your bloodstream. For example, if you drink 200 milligrams of caffeine, within 3 to 6 hours, half of that, 100 milligrams, will be still circulating around the blood, enough for that to disrupt your sleep. So consuming caffeinated drinks too close to bedtime can disrupt the body's natural wake-sleep cycle. It can also make it very difficult to fall asleep or even stay asleep. I have a rule: no caffeine after 3 p.m. Now, if you're telling me I drink coffee late and I still get to sleep, this is not the only problem. Research suggests that consuming caffeine too close to bedtime can also be disruptive to your restorative sleep. This is known as REM, or rapid eye movement sleep. REM is important for cognitive function, memory consolidation, and emotional regulation. By disrupting this cycle, you run the risk of feeling less refreshed upon waking. And what is also noted is that you experience sleepiness throughout the day. And this is where you see people running for caffeine again to get the pick-me-up from the stimulant. It's common to see people falling into this trap and relying solely on caffeine to get them through the day. This habit is a downward spiral that we see commonly, and it has negative impacts on your health, well-being, performance, and ultimately your longevity. Now, from person to person, there will also be variability on tolerance. Caffeine sensitivity, metabolism, genetics, they all play a part in a person's individual tolerance level. So whilst caffeine has a host of benefits, there are a ton of contraindications that we should be mindful of. As mentioned, the biggest one is sleep disturbances. It's the most common one we see. Now, if you're someone who suffers from anxiety, jitters, then you might find caffeination also enhances this for you. It can increase stress hormones like cortisol, like adrenaline, which may exaggerate the feelings of anxiety and jitteriness and shakes. So not understanding how you consume caffeine and coffee can exaggerate feelings of anxiety, panic attacks, jitters, and feelings of generally all-round unease. Coffee can also stimulate stomach acid production. So if you're someone who has gastrointestinal problems, being mindful of your caffeine consumption is important. Issues like acid reflux, heartburn, indigestion are all symptoms that you may find by having caffeine if you're someone who has these problems. In some cases, it can produce stomach ulcers. What you should also understand is that caffeine has laxative properties. So again, diarrhea could be something that you will have if you have a history of stomach problems. Whilst moderate coffee and caffeine intake is considered safe, it can have effects on your heart rate and your blood pressure. As a result, people that suffer from higher blood pressures should bear this in mind when taking caffeine or coffee. You may want to limit caffeine and coffee consumption to avoid the risk of the adverse effects it may have on your heart health. So personally, you should understand your health status prior to having caffeine and coffee. It's also true that caffeine and coffee can interact with medication, so you should consult your physician or your doctor to understand whether it would do this with any medication that you're taking, especially if you're unsure. During pregnancy, caffeine can run the risk of things like miscarriages, low birth weight, and preterm births. So being pregnant, you must understand the effects that caffeine may have on you. But not only that, caffeine can have effects on fertility, specifically in males and females. So it's not just females that should be looking at this. So during pregnancy, during fertility, thinking about things like this, caffeine can play a role in affecting this area. So it's important to understand. Lastly, and this one runs with me in sleep, is dependability on caffeine to get you by. And when you take it away from yourself, because of that cognitive dependency, the amount of withdrawals you will get. You see, regular caffeine consumption, now we know coffee drinkers, we drink a lot of it. If you take that away from us, this dependency will create withdrawal symptoms. You'll feel symptoms such as headaches, fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. So if you are going to reduce your caffeine intake so that you can promote the health benefits associated with it and to improve your sleep cycle, then I recommend that you take it away slowly. You don't go cold turkey and take it completely out of your dietary habits, because the withdrawals you're going to have are going to produce a lot of irritability, headaches, withdrawals, etc. So gradually slowing down the amount of consumption you have over time will help you reduce the intake and dependability you have on it. This is so common amongst coffee drinkers in particular. If you're like me, socially I like drinking coffee, I have to be aware of how much I'm having it and when I'm having it in my day. So to summarize, is coffee and caffeine good for you, your weight loss, your health, etc.? It can be something you use to help you along your health journey, to give you an enhancement of performance, to give you that edge when you're training, to help you with your weight loss, when it's in line with everything else that should be correlated with weight loss. However, if it's misused, if it's dependent upon, if it's the thing that is getting you by for energy, it can become detrimental for your health status. The biggest thing that we see it disrupt is sleep, and we know that sleep is king. It helps us restore, regenerate, and perform at our best. We commonly see people sleep deprived. We commonly see people stressed. And what we commonly also see is people using caffeine and coffee to get by in the day. This is where the crux of the matter occurs. So understanding that caffeine can help you, but don't misuse it, is the key to this video. What I'm not saying is stop your coffee consumption. It is associated with many social events, the taste, the smell. There's so many benefits that coffee can bring to you and your happiness. But using it and misusing it, remember, it is a stimulant. It can be seen like a drug at times when we need it and we get addicted to it. This is where coffee and caffeine can become detrimental to our health.